Hello, today is June 12, 2022. Let's start the Ukraine war update. In the last week, the major development are in the Severodonetsk region as well as some of the southern frontier. We will also talk about several development in Biden and also in Germany response about the war and some dissent in the European Union. So let's first start the the Severodonetsk front. Basically, Russian already very close to Bakhmut. There is a video I will show you later that so a German journalist approaching this road between the Kramatorsk and Bakhmut, and they saw not so military equipment carry tank and artillery as well as agricultural equipment to withdraw from the Bakhmut region to the Kramatorsk region and even to the west. So that's the Ukraine side is already feel that they will not be able to win and they are withdraw the equipment to the west. Uh, that's an indication that soon the war on Severodonetsk could be over. And there are other information also confirm that Severodonetsk, 90% of the territory is controlled by the Russian. This is like a German journalist. I think German generally in this war are relatively neutral, so we would give more credit to the DW broadcast. Uh, Another development is that Russia is going all frontier, trying to expand, consolidate their position. The Russian source seem to indicate that Russian artillery is about 5 to 15 times bigger than the like a Ukraine artillery. So the number of casualty to the Ukraine side is very heavy. The Ukraine side is like between 100 to 200 deaths per for the soldier per day. About 400 to 600 casualty injury per day. So that's about 400 to 800 deaths and injury per day. That's not sustainable to the Ukraine side. Uh, the basically that the frontier all are pretty much all dominated by the artillery. So artillery force Russia has much more ammunition than the Ukraine side. Ukraine also are running very low on the ammunition because all the military infrastructure are being bombed by the Russian airplane and accurate missile. So that is the key problem here is that there is certainly not enough ammunition and artillery in both the number and the sustainability. So that's we thought earlier that there's no way Ukraine can win the war. Basically, it may not sound very nice to some Ukraine audience, but that's a fact that we have to understand. In fact, I will tell a little later that even Biden started changing his talk and indicated that the U.S. also believe Ukraine will not be able to win. So I think that's a very slow response from the U.S. side, but that's a very important indicator that United States may no longer support very strongly about the war in the Ukraine because they don't want to be perceived as a loser. That's something very dramatic. So let's first start with some of the information here. From this map, you can see the Russian offensive is go from all the frontier land, but more concentrate on the north. I think that's what we saw talk about earlier. Like Russia want to push it south, reach this region, and during rainy season, like usually it's summer, this Samarian River will be flooded. So this side, southern side, will not have the supply once the Russian bomb the bridge on the Dnipro River. So given that, I think we will see the Russians continue a very strong offense from the north. And they pretty much reached the Bakhmut region. They already starting attack from the west. So this is the Bakhmut region, and this is Severodonetsk. This is Luchansky. This is Kramatorsk. This one with a lot of cloud. Basically, is a bombardment by the Russian. So we will see the Severodonetsk to be overcome by the Russian pretty soon, like only 10% confirmed by many resources. So we can go a little bit more closer to the frontier of the region. So this is Severodonetsk. This is pretty much overcome by the Russian, and the Russian also very close to the cross river to the Lychansky. Lychansky is a highland about 100 meters higher than the Severodonetsk. So not of Western military and Ukraine military put artillery, heavy equipment on the bank of the Lychansky to shoot over across the river to the Severodonetsk. But now many of the equipment have been withdrawn to the west. And the road also are pretty much very close to be cut off. See, Russian artillery are reaching most of the place here. Here is the Bakhmut. Bakhmut is the major next stop for the Russian. Russian will try to overtake this region pretty soon. This probably is their next target. So this big two cities, this is Donetsk, this is start with the H, I forgot the name, but this is also controlled by the Russian. So the next stop is Bakhmut and also this hub. These two cities will be overcome before Russian can enclose the Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. So let's go back to see the detail on this, Donetsk city on the north. There is a major city Russian want to overtake, which is this one. You can see Russian are basically trying to close from the two sides, here, and they try to encircle the city. They also attack from the north, so they are very close to circle this non-slide of the city. So this is a big picture, but we can see that Bakhmut is the next target, and also the Russians try to overtake the city here, so that the next stop they can attack this region. I think the next big target circle is this one, Kramatorsk and Slavyansk. So we can see on the road between the Bakhmut and the Kramatorsk, lots of highway equipment are being...
Here in the Donbass, a sense that the Russians have momentum. There's a constant stream of farm machinery being moved back from the areas most at risk of falling. The country's crucially important farming industry can't afford to lose this equipment, either stolen or destroyed in this battle of artillery. Moving to the equally precious cargo of military hardware. It's being repositioned.
So basically, you can see lots of artillery and tank are being shipped back to the West. This one is what is Biden is trying to blame Zelensky. Say Zelensky didn't want to hear U.S. warning, and basically is try to attack Zelensky and try to distance the United States from the Zelensky. So this is a very, very important indicator where the Biden do not believe to a certain extent that Ukraine will win, or it is a very strong indication that Russia is getting an upper hand and the United States want to distance from the war because they basically want to blame the losing of the Ukraine war to the Zelensky. So they do not want to be perceived as a loser in the Ukraine war. So this is a strong indicator that the United States may decrease the support of Ukraine. There was also some indicator of the United States also in big trouble. Like basically, this is Lawrence Summers used to be the chief economist for Obama administration. He was also the dean of the Harvard. Is probably one of the best economists. He warned last year that the U.S. is going to have a surging inflation before the inflation happened. That's so he's very good on predicting the economy. He now thinks that the U.S. Fed interest rate has to be hiked very quickly to very high. That will depress the economy of the United States and also lead to global rate increase. That will be very bad news for the economy global-wise, and especially in the United States. So Biden already suffer a very high inflation. Biden reputation is the worst in the U.S. history. So that also indicated that Biden want to distance himself to the Ukraine war because he don't want to suffer another image damage. So the overall picture is very bad for the Ukraine and very bad for the Biden. Overall, we can see that the problem can be get out of control. The Russians are pretty much dominated in the war. In terms of a number of artillery cells they can fire towards the opposite side. So given that, we will see that the West already, like a European already distant, Germany already repeatedly delayed their shipment of artillery and tank to the Ukraine, and they even prevent Italian delivery of the German-made artillery and the tank to the Ukraine. So they say, hey, we made a hardware, you should not deliver to Ukraine side. So basically, the German is not agree with the U.S. In support of the both German and French. They are not believing the Ukraine side can win the war, and they are not going to really deliver the hardware. They promote some hardware for the Ukraine, but they always very slow to deliver it. They, I think, they hold a very strong position that they say no matter what kind of hardware delivered to Ukraine, Ukraine is going to lose in the war. So they don't want to make the thing worse. Uh, they don't want to fight a war that is almost certain to lose. That's also my position. I think the German leader are very smart, and including also the French leader. They predict the war will be happen, no matter what kind of hardware you throw in there. Because for the whole war, each day there's a lot of hardware needed, right? Ammunition, artillery, and the military infrastructure in Ukraine is already been destroyed. Like while Russian, there's almost all of their military infrastructure is still intact, right? Everything is working correctly, and so there's no way Ukraine can win the war. More military support will only cause more civilian get killed, right? More military soldiers get killed. There's no way to change the dynamic of the war. So, as I said, Ukraine is only a 12-year-old. Russia is a 30 years bully. Even though the bully is very bad, but you don't want your children to get into fight with a bully, right? It's better to go home just admit the defeat, right? So that's something. I think it's better for the Ukraine people, and maybe not so good for the ruler of Ukraine, but it's certainly good for the civilian of the Ukraine. So to stop the war as soon as possible. I think it's too much to argue which one has the righteousness, and it's. I certainly agree that Russia is a bully and they are doing something not justified, but they have their own reason, and you don't want to argue with the bully, right? So that's um, my opinion, and may not be correct, and yeah. But if you like my video, please hit the like button, share with your friend, and that's, yeah. Put a comment below, and thanks. Bye now.